Hey guys, welcome back. Today I want to show you a nice trick that lets you easily loot every ancient city without any danger of a warden spawning. It gets really easy. So I'm kind of minimal equipped right now, so I don't even have any armor. Just brought some steak. I'm in survival mode. You don't need to worry about any of those shriekers activating and spawning a warden. So you can just run in between. You can try to spot all the chests and get the loot from there. Of course, there's also no tricks involved, so we're playing difficulty hard, so wardens can technically spawn, but not with the trick we're using right now. Yeah, loot isn't that great, but in case you want to get some echo shards or the swift sneak enchantment, then you definitely need to go here and check every chest. Lighter is probably also a good idea. Yeah, but the main benefit is really that we can just run around without activating any of those shriekers. And this, by the way, works for every ancient city, so you don't need to repair each ancient city separately. Oh, you can also get the music disc fragment. The other side music disc is also in there. Golden apple again, enchant the golden apple. So this has a really good loot here. See, didn't even check all the books. Swift sneak one, okay. That you can go to every ancient city, and as long as you have this trick running, you don't need to worry about any warden spawning. Okay, let's maybe get one more chest. Perfect, there's also an echo shard. Okay, time to solve the mystery. So we basically prevent other shriekers from shrieking by activating a shrieker every 10 seconds. So there is a global cooldown for each player that prevents you from activating two shriekers at the same time with a short delay in between. This would only work for a single player, so this little contraption that we have here would only work for one player, but you could build multiple of those for several players. Okay, so let's check out what's going on in here. So in the middle, you get a shrieker that is activated exactly every 10 seconds. Here we go. Let's send a signal. It starts shrieking, and now no other shrieker globally can shriek again. Here we got a 10-second hopper clock. There's exactly 200 ticks. By the way, the formula to calculate how long a hopper clock is basically for a standard one, 16 times the amount of items. So we got 13 items in there, minus 12. And then basically we got a 196 tick clock. You can also extend it by another 4 ticks by putting a 2 redstone tick repeater in there. That's why we have a 200 tick clock. And then we just trigger this piston here that pushes up some arrows. The skulk sensor here detects those arrows and sends a signal over to the shrieker, activating it exactly every 200 ticks. Okay, so this setup allows you to run over shriekers. You don't need to worry about them activating at all. Now, there's a reason why the setup we're using here is slightly different from the one I used for the Warden farm. The Warden farm was a bit simpler. You had the arrows right next to the shrieker. But when I actually tested my first setup that I just used for the Warden farm with the perfect 200 tick clock, it still happened that sometimes a shrieker activated. Now we're not 100% sure why this happens with the simplest setup, but I have a suspicion. So it could still happen that after 200 ticks, you would activate two shriekers at the same time. Now the game somehow decides on a priority for those shriekers. So I had the suspicion that if a skulk sensor actually activates a shrieker, it has a higher priority than you standing on a shrieker, for example. So you could also activate it without a skulk sensor. And yeah, skulk sensors always have a cooldown of 40 ticks. So that's why it was actually rather random or rare that I got a shrieker to activate in a different place with this perfect 200 tick clock. I think it was actually related just being sensor timed exactly right at the same tick. So basically a 1 in 40 chance that the shrieker would activate. So that's why I adjusted the setup here with the shrieker as well. So now we got a shrieker, with a sensor as well. So now we got one that activates the shrieker. Now I still wasn't sure if you have two different sensors activating a shrieker, which one of those has priority now. So I had a suspicion that it might be beneficial to move the sensor out 8 blocks, because technically then the signal travels to the Shrieker and is sent a little bit earlier. So I think if the sensor is further away, it probably has priority. But we're not quite sure about that yet. Still need to do some code reading, but I wanted to do the video right away because this is definitely probably super helpful for a lot of players. So with this setup here, also with the multiple arrows, somehow that also helped. I was running around for about 45 minutes in a lot of different ancient cities. Other sidecrafters like Methods were also doing the same test, and we didn't get another Warden to spawn. So it seems the setup is really reliable. We're still not 100% sure if there might be a chance that it would fail, but it looks really good right now. So to sum it up, we're still not 100% sure why this setup gives us the best results. Maybe in the future, if we understand a little bit better how everything works, we could maybe make a more compact setup, but for now, this works really well. One more thing that is definitely required is also the portal chunk loading system here on the side to keep the whole contraption loaded while you're raiding a different ancient city. And the reason why I encased everything in wool here was to prevent the skulk sensor from being activated at the wrong moment. So it could happen that, so let's say, a bat spawns and flies next to the skulk sensor, triggering it at the wrong moment, and then it's on cooldown while the arrows are being pushed up, and therefore the trigger wouldn't activate. So that's why this is encased with wool now, and we put carpet here on top to prevent the Warden from spawning. You could also use slabs instead. It's, by the way, also important that the Shrieker you're using is a naturally generated one that has the tag can summon true. So if you would Silk Touch mine one and place it down somewhere else and would try to use that Shrieker, it wouldn't work. So you need one with the can summon true. As you might have noticed, we actually don't have any Warden spawning here, so that's not required. But you can also make a Warden farm out of this to get some Skull Catalysts. So you could just have a 11 by 11 portal here on top, send the Wardens to the Nether and kill them there, and also get some Skull Catalysts. But it's not required, the Shrieking itself is enough. In case you're wondering, now with this specific contraption, if you turn off the 10-second clock, the arrows would eventually despawn after a minute. If you leave quick enough and come back in time, turn it back on immediately, they might still be there, but it's probably worth checking if the arrow is still there if you actually turn it off and want to use it later by turning it back on. Also, if, for example, your server restarts, you need to come here because this wouldn't jumpstart itself, the chunk loading, so you need to load it at least once. But apart from that, this should be really reliable. Okay, so in case you actually want to build the whole system, but I haven't caught all the details, I'm actually going to do a quick tutorial that I'm even going to do in survival to show you that it's actually not that hard to make this Warden-based spawn. Of course, the Warden is a scary mob, but we can pretty much safely build this, and then we don't need to worry about the Warden again, which is the whole point. Alright, so I brought a couple tools, stake, just for the survival aspect of this, and in my inventory got the building materials, so it's a pretty good idea to bring a lot of wool, because this helps you from Shriekers activating or sensors. At least 1 or 2 stacks is good. Building blocks, maybe some glass, slabs to make stuff spawn proof. Then we need a little bit of redstone for the hopper clock, for example. Or you make another 10-second clock. So we need 2 comparators at least, 1 repeater, 2 sticky pistons, redstone torch, 2 redstone dust, redstone block. 6 hoppers and 4 droppers, also for the chunk loading system. That's why I need a bit of obsidian as well. Written steel delighted. 1 piston, bow and arrows. It might be a good idea if you don't have Silk Touch to also bring a skulk sensor. And we need this powder snow here to catch the item of the chunk loading system. Okay, so we covered it all. Alright, then let's get started. So I'm minimally equipped, and I don't have the safety right now. I'm just using some night vision and strength if something really would go wrong. But yeah, it should be fine. Let's see if we can do this in one take, but I doubt it. Alright, so we found a good Shrieker here that is very accessible. So we're gonna sneak up to it and place some wool blocks around to prevent it from activating. Okay. In case there's a couple more sensors and Shriekers around where you're working at, then it's probably also a good idea to deactivate those. I'm just gonna place some more wool around the shriekers here. Then we can also take out those sensors. And then the shrieker as well. This way we can safely create a working area around the main shrieker. Next step is spawn-proofing the area around the shrieker. Now you could either place slabs around in the 11 by 11, but in case you got a cave below, which you might not know, then it's still possible that a warden spawns below. So in order to be absolutely safe, I would recommend dig out 11 by 11 area, 7 blocks down around the shrieker. So you could, for example, just go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks in each direction and dig this stuff away. So place another wool block here. And yeah, I think we're just gonna do the digging. It's probably the most reliable way of doing it. Okay, so this will take a while. 11 by 11 is about 1,000 blocks to mine, but this should be the safest. Okay, so I mined out the first layer here under the shrieker. You gotta do 6 more layers. Also 5 layers or blocks above the shrieker, wardens could spawn. So you also want to take that out if, for example, you got some part of the ancient city of the shrieker. Alright, so let's continue. Alright, so additional 6 layers have been dug out. We removed 7 layers in total under the shrieker. Now we can continue building the contraption. So we need a couple of wool blocks for this wool tunnel. Need 9 in total. Could be number 5. And then we need, already marked it here, 4 more for 9 in total. 8, 9. This would be the block where we place down the sensor, but we're gonna do that last because it would be quite annoying if we would trigger this. Right now it's not even spawn-proof, so the warden could spawn, but even if we make everything spawn-proof, we would get the blindness effect, which is also a little bit annoying. Alright, can already remove this wool block here already. Continue. Just gonna mark this for now for the sensor. Place down wool here on top as well. And then we can spawn-proof this already. We can use slabs, carpet is also an option. Other blocks that would prevent water spawning. And of course, you only need to do it in the 11 by 11 centered on the shrieker. Okay, now we can add the sticky pistons, a wool block on top that we shoot the arrows into. There we go. And this will also be encased. And here we also need to go up additional block. So we can push up this block here. Alright, in the end we're gonna also place a block here above, but we're just gonna leave this open for now so we can shoot the arrows in. Okay, we're just gonna keep this gap so we remember about the skulk sensor. Next step is adding the hopper clock. So I gotta dig down here a little bit to get access to the piston again. And we can just place it down here. Okay, I'm going to add a torch here on the side. And gotta do a little bit of digging. Never done a survival tutorial before. Hope you don't mind. Okay, then we need comparator and a 2-tick repeater. And 2 hoppers pointing into each other. Comparator again on this side. Blocks. And here redstone dust. There's a block, and then the 2 sticky pistons. And the redstone block. I just put in 13 items. There we go. And we got the 10-second clock. Let's add the chunk loading as well right away. So we can just use this torch here to activate both droppers that we need. So an upwards facing one and one pointing to this side. And here we have 2 hoppers. Then we can add the portal. That's a little bit crammed in here. Mine one more layer. So we need a 3x3 portal. This means at least 12 obsidian blocks. There we go. You can already place down the powder snow here on the side. Catch the items reliably. Okay, then I'm gonna light this, and we have to step through to activate the connection to the other side in case you're first time over here. I think then I'm just gonna quickly switch to creative to do this a bit quicker. Go back to the overworld side and put a couple items into the dropper here. Okay, then we can go back to the nether. And we're just gonna throw one more item into the portal to load the overworld side. And then we wanna observe where the item is coming from. So I'm in survival, hopefully not getting attacked. There we go, so it lands over here. Okay, then we can just expand the portal real quick. Not really, if you have to mine obsidian. There we go. And light the portal again. You know it's coming from here. So just gonna place down dropper. And 2 hoppers. And the rest of the powder snow. And of course, this also needs to be triggered. I totally forgot that in the material list. I'm so sorry, but hopefully you got another comparator and one observer. Yeah, sorry about that. Maybe a trapdoor, wooden one is enough. I'll just place it down like this. Okay. Basically just to trigger this again, so the item is incoming, and then we just trigger the dropper again to send the items back. Okay, then I brought a couple of glass blocks as well. Just wanna seal this off here nicely. This is what you wanna keep open, because sometimes the items would land actually on this hopper. You can also place down 2 more powder snow if you want. Okay, but we can also close this side. And then we can go back. Okay, so it's only basically important why I'm closing this, so no zombie can pick up the item. Could get zombie reinforcements in the nether as well, that's why it's probably also a good idea to do it there. Now it is already pretty nicely closed off. There we go, and now we're safe. So technically 1 item in this dropper is enough, but having more in there is also not too bad. They'll get replenished right away. Alright, then yeah, we're done. I think you wanna shoot arrows into the block now. This should go up every 10 seconds. Yeah, there we go. Just gonna shoot in 6 arrows. From our testing, 4 should be enough, but I can't really tell if that's actually the case. Yeah, 6 is probably also a good idea. Okay, just gonna place another wool block here on top. One here on the side, and then we're gonna trigger the whole contraption. Skulk sensor, and there we go. Now, of course, we need to wait until it triggers again. I'm just gonna go in spectator real quick so you can see this. Yep, starts shrieking. Okay, back to survival. Now, if you're too close, of course, you get the blindness effect, but I'm just gonna run around a little bit. The blindness effect, or darkness effect, gonna wear off soon. But I guess the best showcase is if you actually teleport away. Just gonna do this for 10,000 blocks, and we're gonna locate a new ancient city, one that I've never been at. Structure, ancient city. Okay, let's go over here. Wait for it to load in. The deep dark above, I think. Okay, back to survival mode. And now I can stand on the shrieker, a wooden shriek. So it definitely does work. Alright, so with the Warden switch, it's definitely easy to raid the next ancient city and get all the echo shots before somebody else can. Alright, hope you liked this video. Thanks guys for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.